This wasn't just a tournament, it was a test of legacy. The U.S. Junior Amateur Qualifier isn't just a junior event, it's where reputations are forged or forgotten. Out of dozens of elite young players, only a handful would walk away with a ticket to Dallas this summer. And Charlie? He had everything to lose, and even more to prove. Every swing he took carried the weight of his last name. At just 16 years old, Charlie Woods isn't playing under the radar. Not when your dad is arguably the greatest to ever hold a golf club. Cameras clicked with every backswing, fans whispered with every missed fairway, and above all, his father, Tiger Woods, watching from just feet away. Tiger wasn't just in the gallery, he was in the pressure. This was more than golf. This was identity. Would Charlie crumble under the suffocating pressure or rise into the spotlight just like his father once did? This wasn't about talent, it was about heart. Eagle Trace was quiet that day, not the silence of indifference, the silence of anticipation. Every player wanted it, but only one had the golf world holding its breath. You could hear the expectations echo off the fairways. Charlie's swing looked smooth, calm, controlled, but every tee box felt like a final exam. He wasn't just playing golf, he was writing his own name, and with each hole the tension grew. Would he qualify? Would he choke? One misstep and the whispers would turn to judgment. But as the round began to unfold, something started to shift, and it caught everyone off guard. Charlie Woods didn't shoot the lowest score of the day. He didn't make the most birdies. He didn't dominate the field. But somehow his round, the quiet, calculated 1 under 71, was the one everyone was talking about. It wasn't flashy, it was fearless. From the very first hole, you could tell he wasn't chasing highlights. He was chasing a number, one that would get him to Dallas. This wasn't about making a statement, it was about making the cut. He wasn't out to impress. He was out to survive. On the back nine, things got tense. That's where boys become contenders. Charlie's birdie on 14, clinical. No fist pump, no roar, just business. That one birdie changed everything. And then, the stumble. A bogey late in the round. It could have ruined everything. It didn't. He made a mistake and didn't flinch. That's what stood out. Not that he avoided pressure, but that he walked straight through it. You could tell, wrote AmateurGolf.com, he wasn't playing like a junior anymore. This wasn't talent, it was tournament IQ. Remember, last year at Oakland Hills, Charlie missed the cut. Badly. The headlines were harsh, the comments worse, but he came back. Smarter, calmer, colder. This wasn't a comeback. It was a lesson learned. He didn't need a miracle. He needed margin, and that's what the 71 gave him. Just enough to tie for 5th, just enough to sneak into a playoff. Golf isn't about domination, it's about decisions. And Charlie Woods made every single one of them count. The real flex? He didn't try to be perfect. He just played smart, and in doing so, he set the stage for something even more dramatic, something no one saw coming. Just when it looked like the dust had settled, the leaderboard said otherwise. Charlie Woods wasn't alone at 5th. Two other players, Oscar Crowe and Matthew Morigliano, had also finished at 1 under. And with only 5 qualifying spots available, the message was clear. 3 names, 1 spot, no second chances. It wasn't just another hole, it was the hole. A playoff that would decide everything, and months of training, a shot at glory in Dallas, and possibly the biggest step in Charlie's career so far. You could feel it before you saw it. This wasn't just pressure, it was legacy on the line. Most 16-year-olds might freeze in that moment. Charlie didn't. With the sun dropping low over Coral Springs, the playoff began. It wasn't loud, it was tense. This was a whisper kind of moment, too important to scream through. Oscar took his shot. Clean but cautious. Matthew followed. Solid but unremarkable. Then came Charlie. His face was calm, but his swing was something else. He didn't just hit a shot, so he sent a message. He landed it clean, right where it needed to be. No theatrics, no misfires, just ice in his veins. The crowd didn't erupt. They froze, watching something rare. It wasn't flashy. It was final. Charlie Woods had won the playoff. In 1 hole, he earned the final qualifying spot for the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. That wasn't luck. That was a controlled explosion under pressure. Let's be clear. He didn't sneak into this championship. He claimed it. Winners don't wait for permission. They take the moment. And just like that, the kid with the famous last name wasn't just a storyline anymore. He went from Tiger's son to Charlie Woods in 1 swing. And standing just off the green, Tiger saw it all. There are moments in sports when the atmosphere shifts, not because of what's happening on the course, but because of who's watching. And on that day at Eagle Trace, Tiger Woods was watching his son play for everything. When Tiger shows up, it's not casual. It's historic. He wasn't there for show. No entourage, no fanfare, just quiet focus. Eyes locked in, arms folded. Every parent feels pressure when their child competes, but when you're Tiger Woods, that pressure cuts both ways. He wasn't just watching around, he was watching his legacy unfold. And Charlie knew it. Of course he did. How could he not? Every shot was a whisper to the man who changed golf forever. This wasn't the first time Tiger had been at Charlie's tournaments, but this one felt different. It wasn't an exhibition, it wasn't a father-son scramble. This was real. This was qualifying for the most elite junior event in the country. This wasn't a Woods duo. This was Charlie's proving ground. And yet Tiger wasn't distant. He's spoken before about giving Charlie space to grow, saying, "I'm supporting him in the background. I'm not that loud parent you hear over the rope." But make no mistake, he was locked in. Tiger didn't need to say a word. His presence said everything. There was a look after Charlie sank his playoff shot, just a subtle nod from Tiger. You could miss it if you blinked. But it meant everything. That was the moment. No cameras, no words. Just legacy recognizing legacy. And you have to wonder, was that the moment Tiger realized Charlie really had it? No interviews, no outbursts, just a quiet walk back to the clubhouse, side by side. The son just made the cut, and the father just witnessed history. Charlie Woods didn't just qualify for a tournament, he ignited something. Between July 21st and 26th, he'll tee it up at Trinity Forest in Dallas, home of the 2025 U.S. Junior Amateur Championship, the biggest junior event in the country. But this isn't about a junior title anymore. It's about momentum. Just weeks before that playoff, Charlie shocked the junior circuit by winning the Team TaylorMade Invitational, his first major junior title. That wasn't a fluke. That was a sign. And now, the whispers are getting louder. Golf insiders aren't asking if Charlie will break through, they're asking when. He's no longer just a name on a leaderboard, he's a headline, a topic on Golf Channel, a bullet point on PGA Tour rundowns. The hype train isn't coming, it already left the station. Trinity Forest is no joke. Fast greens, rolling fairways, the kind of course that exposes your flaws or crowns your future. And everyone will be watching, not just for birdies, but for poise. We're not looking for shots, we're looking for signs of greatness, and that's the thing. He's still just 16. The pressure should be too much. The spotlight should blind him. But it doesn't. He's not shrinking under the weight of his last name, as he's growing into it. A participant, he was the headline. Golf Digest called it the most anticipated junior debut in recent memory. Galleries were packed, social media buzzed, and inside the ropes, a familiar figure cast a long shadow. Tiger Woods' arms crossed, hat low, silent, watching every shot but saying nothing. When Tiger walks inside the ropes, the world stops to watch. But make no mistake, Charlie wasn't just riding his father's legacy. The 15-year-old had earned his spot the hard way. Grinding his way through Florida qualifiers, handling post-round interviews like a pro, and showing flashes of brilliance that had even PGA Tour pros raising eyebrows. This wasn't nepotism, this was momentum. Still, the moment was enormous. NBC Sports described it as a pressure cooker disguised as a tee box. The first hole wasn't just a par 4, it was a proving ground. And the look on Charlie's face said it all. Locked in, jaw tight, shoulders pulled back, but something was stirring underneath. You could feel it, this wasn't going to be an ordinary round. As Charlie took that opening swing, the gallery held its breath. But it wasn't the swing that would define the day, it was everything that came after. Because the storm that was brewing, it wasn't in the sky, it was inside Charlie's game. It started on the front 9, and it never really stopped. Charlie Woods stepped onto the first tee with momentum, pedigree, and pressure. What followed was one of the roughest rounds of his young career. By the time the scorecard was signed, the number was brutal. 81, 11 over par, tied for 242nd out of 264. Not just a bad day, a near total collapse. This wasn't just the wrong direction. This was freefall mode. The front 9? A train wreck. 4 double bogeys derailed any shot at rhythm early. Wayward drives off the tee put him in deep rough. Approach shots flew the green. Chips checked up short. Every swing looked like a search for control, and it never quite showed up. Golf Monthly didn't mince words, calling it an uphill task from here before day 2 even started. And when experts start writing you off mid-tournament, you know it's serious. By the turn, Charlie was already 8 over. His body language told the story before the leaderboard did. Yahoo Sports painted the moment. A glance up at Tiger, and then back down again. No fist pumps, no eye contact. Just a teenage golfer unraveling on the biggest stage of his life, with the biggest icon in the game silently watching from 5 yards away. And still, he kept grinding. A couple of birdie looks came and went. One putt finally dropped. But any hope of a comeback was short-lived. Another missed fairway, another missed green, another long walk with shoulders sagging just a little more. The scoreboard kept climbing, and his confidence kept slipping. By the time he reached the 18th, Charlie looked more like a kid searching for the clubhouse than a future star gunning for match play. The question wasn't, can he win? It became, can he survive this? According to data pulled by NBC Sports and WFAA, Charlie Woods didn't just have a rough day, he put together one of the statistically weakest performances of the entire field. The numbers painted a cold, unforgiving picture. Fairways hit, bottom percentile. He missed more than he found, forcing himself into recovery positions on nearly every hole. The driver, usually one of his strengths, was completely out of sync. When your first shot is failing, everything else becomes damage control. But it wasn't just the driver. The scrambling stats were just as brutal. When Charlie missed greens in regulation, which he did often, he rarely saved par. In fact, his recovery rate was among the lowest in the entire 264-player field. What that means in simple terms? Every mistake snowballed into a bigger one. And there were no escapes. In golf, some rounds feel like puzzles. This one looked like a maze with no exit. Then came the putter, and even there was no rescue. Woods averaged significantly more strokes per green than the field, putting him in the upper tier for missed opportunities. Short putts lipped out. Long ones never had a chance. The result? A mental and mechanical breakdown that no momentum could fix. By the time he walked off the 18th green, Charlie sat plus 11, a staggering 12 shots behind the projected cut line for match play. It wasn't just a tough start, it was a statistical freefall. At this level, you don't get a pass because of your last name, you get judged by your numbers. From top to bottom, this wasn't a round that slipped away, it was a round that never had a grip to begin with. Numbers tell no lies, and Charlie's told a hard truth. Day 2 is over. The final putt dropped, the gallery faded, and the leaderboard didn't lie. Charlie Woods is out. His second round 74 plus 3 was a noticeable improvement, but not enough. Not on this stage. Not against this field, and not after the wreckage of round 1. Final tally, plus 14. The match play cut, set at plus 2. 12 shots, a canyon-sized gap that no amount of pedigree, pressure, or surname could bridge. In a tournament of potential, Charlie's story became a cautionary tale. NBC Sports didn't pull punches, one of the highest profile exits of the week. Not because he was the lowest score, but because he carried the heaviest expectations. The spotlight wasn't earned, it was inherited, and when the game hit back, it did so without mercy. Golf doesn't care who your dad is, only what you post on the card. And Charlie's card told the truth. Over 2 days, 4 double bogeys, dozens of missed fairways, and too many shaky putts. The scorebook doesn't whisper, it doesn't spin. It prints reality in black and white, and right now, reality says this. Charlie Woods wasn't ready. But here's the twist. We've seen him bounce back before. Coral Springs, the playoff, the nerves, the clutch moment. He's done it. But this wasn't Coral Springs. This was louder, sharper, more brutal. This was national television. This was Tiger walking beside you in silence. The challenge now isn't making the cut, it's making peace with failure. Because this moment doesn't end with a handshake or a hug, it ends with questions. Is this the beginning of a breakthrough? Or a much-needed humbling for a teenager learning that greatness doesn't come on a timeline even when your name is Woods? His scorecard is done, but the real test? That's just getting started. His story didn't end this week, it just got real. Day 2. The Texas heat simmered over Trinity Forest Golf Club, but the most intense pressure wasn't coming from the weather, it was radiating from one quiet figure in the gallery. Tiger Woods. Hat pulled low, Arms folded, lips pressed in a straight line, the most dominant player in golf history said nothing as his son tried to salvage a tournament slipping through his fingers. No words, no nods, no fist bumps. This wasn't the smiling, mentoring dad we saw at AJGA events or the relaxed presence during Charlie's early junior runs. This was something entirely different. And that difference? You could feel it from the ropes to the fairway. For all of Tiger's trademark intensity, he's always known when to offer a look, a glance, a whisper of encouragement. But not this time. Cameras caught him standing motionless as Charlie lined up putts, wrestled his swing, and trudged forward. The ESPN broadcast noted it, the gallery whispered about it. Even Yahoo Sports called it eerily quiet around the Woods duo. You expect applause or anger, but not silence that deafening. Speculation started to swirl. Was Tiger intentionally letting his son fight this alone? A test? A lesson in grit? Or was this something darker? Disappointment? Frustration? A moment where even Tiger didn't know what to say? Analysts on Golf Channel quietly raised the question, is this pressure starting to break both of them? And maybe it is, because this wasn't just a bad day at a local junior tourney. This was the US Junior Amateur. This was the national stage. And Tiger knew better than anyone what the spotlight could do to a 16-year-old trying to carry a last name with 15 majors behind it. Sometimes, silence says more than any swing ever could.